Hey everybody, how's it going? Stephen Feifke here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my favorite topics, which is the bebop scale and the harmonization of the bebop scale. I'm going to be using some music from one of my PDF books, which is called The Ultimate Guide to Jazz Piano Voicings. So if at any time you want to follow along, you can just click on the video description, the link in the video description below, and download that PDF document. So basically what we're going to do, I'm going to switch cameras here so you can see my hands. But the bebop scale is based on the diatonic major scale. So let's say that we're in the key of C major for now, right? C major, the normal, quote unquote normal diatonic major scale for C major has 7 notes. Right? And what we do to get a bebop scale is that we add in 1 extra note. So this is the major scale. We're going to talk about 3 different scales. We're going to talk about the minor scale, the minor bebop scale, the major bebop scale, and the dominant 7 bebop scale. So we're going to base this off of our Ionian mode, right? This is the first mode of the major scale. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a note in between the 5th and the 6th degree. So in between this G and this A, we're going to add in a G sharp. So that addition of this G sharp over here, that makes possible a couple of things. First of all, it adds like some element of rhythmic symmetry to the scale itself, right? So if we're using the Ionian scale only, what will happen is that if we play like in 4/4 time, it's not symmetrical. We're not going to go up to the root. We actually go up to the 9th. So check this out. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Whereas if we go up using the bebop scale and add in that G sharp, we have some rhythmic symmetry. So this scale is really just totally central to bebop in general, improvising over jazz standards in general. And actually there's so many songs that use this scale almost verbatim, and one of those songs is Donna Lee. Right at the beginning there, we literally have a descending A-flat major bebop scale. And then when we get to the F7 chord, we highlight the F7 chord, but that's a topic for another time. So in addition to basically adding to the rhythmic symmetry, there's also an element that expands the harmonic capabilities of the mode. When we add in that 8th note, that G sharp, what starts to happen is that we have the opportunity to separate this scale into 2 different groupings of 4 notes, right? So we have a C6 shape. That's one shape, and then we also have a D diminished 7 shape. So basically, if I take this C6 shape, and every single note in that chord gets moved up to the next note in the scale, right? The C goes up to the D, this E goes up to the F, that G goes up to the G sharp, and the A goes up to the B. And then from there, the next chord up, right? If I take that D, and I move it up to the E, and I move that F up to the G, and I move that G sharp up to the A, and I move that B natural up to the C natural. Right now we really have some interesting things going on here. We can use this technique to basically harmonize any song that we want. Let's take, for example, how about This Will Be My Shining Hour? My Shining Hour. This will be my shining hour. Right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top note. I'm going to harmonize it with a C6 shape below it. So this is actually going to be in 3rd inversion. And I'm going to double that melody an octave below. And like this is super convenient because actually this song, we start in C major, or the tonic, right? And then we go to the relative minor. So... And what's so convenient about that actually is that we're going to the relative minor, so we're using the same scale, just starting on a different note. So we have this C6 shape, which is also an A minor 7 chord. Okay, so there are a lot of pianists who use this technique. There's Ahmad Jamal, there's George Shearing, there's Bill Evans, and there's tons of things that you can do to change these shapes to make them a little bit more crunchy, let's say, right? So Bill Evans on Waltz for Debbie might go... Or... Really, really cool stuff. And it's all because of this addition of the 8th note in the scale. So to practice these, what we can do is we can take this shape, right? And we can take it throughout all 12 keys. And if you follow along if you're following along in the PDF document right now, you can see that all of this is written out in all 12 keys. So we have it in C major, in G major, right, so why don't we take this as an opportunity just to explain. Let's just continue. We're going to be in D major, right? So we're going to take this root position. This root position 6 chord, major 6 chord that comes from the scale, right? And remember, to get to that scale, we just take the Ionian mode and we add in the note that's in between the 5th and the 6th degree of the scale. So we add in that A sharp in between the A and the B natural. Right, so that means that my first chord is D6. My second chord is going to be E diminished 7. That D is going to go up to the E. That F sharp is going to go up to the G. That A is going to go up to the A sharp. And this B is going to go up to the C sharp. Another song, Smile. Smile, though your heart is breaking. When there's we're gonna change the chord here because the harmony changes in the song. But up till that point, we could basically harmonize that entire melody only using the harmonization of the bebop scale. Okay, so let's go on. Let's just do, for a quick example, this same concept using the dominant scale. So for this one, we're going to take the Mixolydian mode, which is the 5th mode of the major scale, right? So we're going to stick in the key of C. Right, that's our Mixolydian mode. So it's the 5th mode of the major scale, which means that we're operating in the quote-unquote home key of F major, right? And here we have C. And to this scale, we're not going to add in the degree between the 5th and the 6th. We're actually going to add in another leading tone. So in between the 7th and the 8th or 1st degree of the scale, we're going to add in that B natural, that natural 7, right? So we're going to have root, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6, flat 7, that's what makes it Mixolydian. And then we're going to add in that leading tone, which is that B natural. Okay, so that's our dominant 7 bebop scale. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take, again, this shape from the first, we're just going to stack up the first 4 degrees of the scale in thirds. And then we're going to move up to the next one. Now, something cool that we can do as well is that we can take the G minor bebop scale here and superimpose that over C7. Right? That has our guide tones, it has our flat 7, and it has our natural 3rd. Right, so and it also has a C in that scale. And it has a sharp 11. That's a cool sound to play over C7. Right, right? So I can take the first 4 notes, stacked in leaps, let's say, not in thirds, in leaps of the G minor bebop scale, right? And every note is going to go up to the next note in the scale. So this G is going to go up to the A, the B flat is going to go up to the C, the D is going to go up to the D sharp or the E flat, depending on how you want to think about it, and the E is going to go up to the F sharp. Right, so that sounds a lot like G because I have that as my frame of reference. But what if I put C in my bass? Okay, so that's kind of an example of what we can do over a dominant 7 chord, right? We can either use that mixolydian plus the natural 7, or we can superimpose the 5th degree of that scale, the minor bebop scale of the 5th degree of that scale, over that chord, right? So, for example, in the key of B flat, we could superimpose the F minor bebop scale. Right, this looks like a B flat 7 voicing to me. We have our 5th, we have our 7th, we have our 9th, we have our 3rd, and we have our 5th again. Right, and then the next chord up in this scale would be a G fully diminished 7 chord. Okay, pretty cool. For our minor bebop scales, we have a couple of different options. We have let's go back to the key of C, right? We have... I like that version of the minor scale because we have the natural 6 and the natural 7. It just feels like very satisfyingly minor to me. And for this one, what we're going to add in is we're going to add in that degree again in between the 5th and the 6th degree. So we're going to add in that A flat, right? And now we have a C minor 6 chord, followed by a D fully diminished 7 chord, followed by a C6 chord, C minor 6 chord. And again, I can double that root an octave below. And that's the melody for Mr. PC. And that's only using the bebop scale, the minor bebop scale harmonizations of that. So where else can we use this? For example, we can use this when we're harmonizing a saxophone section, right? Saxophone section has 5 voices. So let's say lead alto goes here. Let's say alto 2 goes here. Tenor 1 goes here. Tenor 2 goes here. And baritone saxophone goes here. Okay, and you can see that this is actually what's called a drop 2 voicing of my C6 shape, right? I have my root on the bottom, but up here, I basically have the outline of that C6 shape just in first inversion, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that second note to the top, and it's going to be put an octave below, and that's called a drop 2. And this is the same voicing, it's just a different shape, different organization of the notes. Every note here is going to go up to the next chord, to the next note in the scale, right? And that's my D diminished shape. What am I? I'm not sure why I'm playing this, but like the famous Miles Davis tune. So that's a couple of applications of the harmonization of the bebop scale. And again, if you want to follow along with any of this sheet music and more, there's a ton of voicings in this packet, this download. You can click on the link in the video description below and check out the Ultimate Guide to Jazz Piano Voicings. That's literally what I'm reading off of right now. So enjoy and take care. See y'all next time.